Hello, hello. Well, let's just see here. We'll record this early stage, getting ready, planning what we're going to do here. See if anyone wants to join. Sent out an email here and see if anyone's coming up. I got 15. Alrighty. So I'm just going to open up the chat here, see how this works out. See if we get people in here. So since I don't live stream very often, what I want to try and figure out is get the setup for how the text looks on the screen, get all the audio figured out, and then sort of figure out where we're going to be going with all of this. So get some people in here. All right, so let's just, in the chat, can you just tell me how audio is before we move move further with this, just so I'm not wasting time? Good, good, good. Okay. Alrighty, so essentially, yeah, I'll just keep an eye on it. So if something does go bad, just tell me. But essentially, what's going to happen is I want to create projects, I guess, that I want to do, like, because I love coding. I love just creating things. It's just awesome. And I'm sure all of you guys do too. Just that's why you do it. But I want to do it in a different way because I want you guys to be involved as much as possible. So whether that be we use GitHub. My cat. We use GitHub to, upload and have the repository there, but then we can have the issues and we can have, you guys can fork stuff and do your own take on things. Then we can pull it in if there's features that we want on different types of projects. So, what's up, Zach? You guys love these emocons or yeah. Hello, how's it going, Zach? Okay, so um, we have to decide on number one, the project we're going to be doing. And I want to do a bunch of projects. So we'll do one, finish it, move on to the next one, finish it, move on to the next one. And you guys can jump in and out of live sessions whenever you're available. I don't know if you guys are available this time of day or whenever. I'll put the stuff up on YouTube and we can just work through these different projects and have fun with it. We're not going to be too serious or anything. So let's take a look at some other setup stuff here. So I'm using my work computer, which is a Windows. I usually code on a Mac, which is just so easy. But I know a lot of people are on Windows, and I can feel your pain. So what I do, Rails sucks on Windows, along with many other programs. It just a lot of things just don't work. I know it seems like you can get going working with Ruby on Rails or Python or any of these other languages. You can get going on Windows. But once you get a little bit more advanced, you run into a lot of roadblocks programming on a Windows-based machine. So because I want to live stream from this, it's my work computer. My day job is an architect, so I do that during the day, and I like to code on my spare time. Um, because I want to use this computer, I'm going to use VirtualBox, which is this little free program. And I have videos on setting everything up. I haven't completed the video on setting up your virtual machine yet, which I will have on YouTube, and you guys can do that. But if you're familiar with VirtualBox, go ahead, and I recommend to use this for your coding environment. And I just set up Ubuntu on it, so that's what you're seeing in the background there. So this is inside Ubuntu, inside my Windows machine. So I'll just show you. Here's the desktop, Ubuntu normal little operating system. The issue I have with this is it is a little bit slow. And one thing I probably screwed up on, which I should have done, which I'm not going to fix, but I installed the 32-bit version, um, which is not a problem because I installed and set this up just for coding, which it works great. But then I ran into a problem where I would have liked to have Chrome on here, um, which isn't a big deal, but it would have been nice to just have Chrome on the Ubuntu, and you can't do 32-bit Chrome anymore, so I sort of screwed myself there. But other than that, everything's good. Your computer should be fairly decent to be able to run this at any sort of speed, but I'm creating a video on how to set this up perfectly for your speed and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I recommend if you are on a Windows machine, definitely set up a VirtualBox uh, and run all your coding through that. And I used to actually do it with Python on my Mac because I do a lot of coding on my MacBook. And I used to actually set up virtual machines for all of that too, because you get your environment exactly like production, and it's just that's the way you want to do it. If you're serious about coding, that's the way you want to do it. But if you just hop on and write some code every now and then, just throw it onto your plain old operating system is fine, like your Mac operating system. Um, yeah, Josh just said, let me just read all this stuff. Text Wrangler, free for Mac, yeah. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm using Vim, like that's what I use. So I didn't used to, but I've been using it quite a bit now. I'm not like super fast on it, but I just enjoy working on it through the terminal. And if you work with Ruby on Rails, Rails is a very terminal heavy framework. So the fact that you're always in the terminal, it makes sense to use a text editor that's in the terminal. And like Josh said, there's an insane amount of plugins for Sublime, and I love Sublime. I have it on my Mac, and TextMate I use too. They all have good plugins, but Vim has the same thing. You can get plugins galore for Vim. Um, yeah, Sublime free. Those of you who use it, very, very good. It is free, but I do recommend if you do a lot of coding, just throw those guys a couple bucks because I'm starting to go that way myself. I'd rather go to the donation model where, I want to give people access to things, but if you got a few bucks laying around, try and give those guys a little bit of donation for their time because it's such an amazing program. So, um, yeah, I'll see you later, Andrew. You can take off if you want, but this video is mainly a setup video, and I'm gonna get into programming. Like it's gonna be hopefully an ongoing thing, so we can keep working at it. But today I'm just gonna figure out what program we're doing. So I don't want to do that in a is Vim natively in Ubuntu? Well, VI is native in all Unix-based operating systems. Like it's a Unix program, so it comes on all your Macs. And Mac actually has Vim built in. Vim is just a extended version of VI, which is the base program. And if you're going to be using it, I'd recommend just upgrading whatever to Vim. If you're on Ubuntu, you just sort of download the package, the Vim package. It's very, very easy. It takes a few seconds. Um, on a Mac, I'm pretty sure it comes with it. And on a Windows, you could use, let's see if I can get this to show up here. Um, where is it? Not Rails. I can't remember. I thought I had done it on here. I was trying to see. Oh, here, Vim. Yeah, you can download. Oh no, that's not it. There is something you can download for Windows because I was trying to get this to work straight on Windows. So I downloaded Vim. I had it all up and running, but you just run into so many issues further down. You can get it started, but it just screws you up later on. So you can run it on all three systems. It's really really lightweight. Run it on anything. Uh, yeah. So that's pretty much where we're at. I want to start as long as actually I want to figure out this text thing first. I'll just answer a couple questions. Yeah, this is all being posted directly onto YouTube. It's live streamed to YouTube, and they archive it up to 8 hours, I think, but we're not going to be that long. So yeah, it's going to be directly on YouTube. I might have the setting on where it's going to be private for now, because I think I want to edit it down for like the actual on-demand video. But yeah, it's going to be on YouTube, so you can watch it whenever you want. You can catch up on missed videos. Um, yeah, Vim is native on the Mac. You got that. It comes with Mac. Yeah, so I love programming on a Mac. It just doesn't make sense for me to do this. And I've actually just finished a project I was hired to do, a complete project in Rails that I did on this computer using this virtual machine, and it worked perfectly. It is a little bit slow compared to working on a Mac, because Mac is just right there on the metal. You're just going fast. So this is a little bit wait time, especially in the browser, but other than that, it's working perfectly. So I love it. Um, yeah, so that's about it. So that's what I'm going to use. Virtual machine, Vim for text editor. I'm in the terminal program constantly. If you're on a Mac, you're used to terminal. It's the same type of thing. I will have the video for the setup for this. It's already on the channel for setting up sort of the project, but I'm going to do an actual setup for the system I have, the environment I have. So that'll be on YouTube, so you guys can check that out if you want. I want to check out the text size and all that. There's no use in doing all this stuff and you guys can't read shit, so I'm going to, I know there's a delay here, but if you guys could just let me know if you want the text bigger or something. I had it bigger and it screws up, because what happens is, I'm just going to show you, let's just go into a thing here and I'll show you what happens with the text size. So, whoops. Oh my God. All right, so you have this open, and then we're going to do this, and then you're going to do this. So this is typical, the amount of screen, the amount of code you're going to have on a screen using Vim. So the problem is when I had the text bigger, it you couldn't read all the lines. Like, so I kept shrinking the text down just to see if I'm comfortable working and it's big enough text. And this is sort of the happy medium I set, but I don't know if it'll be too small for you guys. Like on a big, looking at it through a video, this could be hard to tell. I have it full screen on my monitor, so it's easy for me, but for you guys, could you tell me how the text is here? Like, do we want it bigger? And keep in mind, a lot of times this will be the 3-pane view that we're looking at. If we're working with, we got, models over here, data models, and we got views or tests on the other pane. We want to have all this stuff open. Okay, so on a laptop, 15-inch, so that's like a laptop. That's looking good. Good. What about the colors? I didn't spend too much time on the colors, but this is sort of the color scheme I've been working with the last few months. So I just sort of left it. I think it's fine. Let's just see about, I wonder if I can do some comments here. No, it's not going to work here. All right, let's just go through and find something where I can have comments. All right, here, let's just do this. Yeah, so that's the color of the comments. Like comments I find on videos, people have it on a light color because it's great for watching. Writing the code. You don't really need to read the comments, so you have it on a very light color. But in a video, I find you want to read comments. So I picked a color that was sort of a bit brighter. Okay, so you guys are good. 1080p, 24-inch monitor. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm on. 21s? 24s? I don't know. Yeah, I think they're 24s. That's what I'm on, so. 27. Okay, 27 and the view is still blurry. Gene. Okay, okay, you fixed it. Good. 1080p clears up the blurriness. Yeah, I think that's just a streaming thing. It's not really the video quality. I'm pretty sure once the video is uploaded directly and viewed directly in the archive, then it's gonna be fine. But the streaming thing, yeah, 1080p, as long as you can handle that, you're fine. That means my upload speed's good. That's what I was wondering. Gene's talking about the comments here. I do on my screen. Okay, I see what you're saying. The contrast from the background to the actual comment. Okay. So, let's see. Wonder if I can easily change that. So we got colors here. Yeah, see, there's no. I could upload a color scheme, but. Okay, let's just see here. Oh, did I just close all that? Shit. Okay, so let's try this again. I'm going to see if the contrast can be fixed on this. Profile, edit the colors. Solarize light. No, that's just. I could go like this, but because in HTML it looks good. Yeah, this doesn't look too bad. No, I do want to set this up properly. So if I want people to be able to read everything. I hate it when you're watching videos and it's too small. Like another thing I do, and I know you guys are probably not doing this right now, but if anyone is, just let me know. I like to set YouTube up on a TV or something, like, or if I'm going to bed or something, I'll throw up a video and I'll lay back in bed and you're like 15, 20 feet away. And it can be hard sometimes. So I know I don't want to set up for everybody's use case, but I want to make sure you can read comments. I want to make sure. This seems like a little dark. It sort of puts you to sleep a little bit. Green on black. Oh shit. That's gray on black. No. Nope. White on black. Well, that's funny. All the Vim stuff changes too. Okay, so color palette. What's this? Linux console. Ah, so this is it right here. This is what changes it. Tango. Yeah, Tango darkens those comments up a bit, whereas that brightens things up. I think I had solarized dark, yeah, and then, yeah. Actually, I like this. That just brightened everything up. I don't want it to be black, because black is too much. No, no, I just want to set this up. I'm in no rush here right now. Solarize is good, yeah. It's totally different. I'm sure a lot of you guys know from coding. I like this better. Solarized. Done. We'll end that issue. I know a lot of you guys probably know from coding, you set up your way and it just works on your monitor because of the brightness and all that kind of stuff, and you're right there in front of it. But when you stream it over a video, things change, and I just wanted to make sure that's set up good. Okay, so we're all good. Josh likes it too. Okay. So we'll use this from now on in all the videos. So what I want to do is, how do I change that? Oh, for fuck. Okay. So what I want to do is figure out what we're going to work on. Now, I have an idea for what I want to do. I have like a list. I'm always coming up with stuff I have to do, sort of like a to-do list. So I have a bunch of stuff that I want to build this year. The first one's important to me, but I don't know how important it would be to you guys. So I'm going to think about it here. So let's go and write some stuff here. So one thing I want to do is generate like a web application for sort of myself and these videos. And so what it's going to be is just like everyone else has. It's going to be like a website you can go to and catch up on the old screencasts. There'll be a page for the live stream video where you can watch that and have the chat. There'll be a section for like posts and stuff, like articles written about various things, like our projects we're doing or just news stuff and tutorials and things. And then also have like a user section for, forum type thing. You guys can submit things. I don't know. So that project is sort of one thing I need to get this up and running for all our projects, sort of like a hub for everything we're going to be doing in these videos and coding together. I think that's important that I do that, and I want to do it. It's also going to have a paywall for certain things, so I want to do this a lot. Like I spend a lot of time on coding and helping people out. Obviously, I'm not going to get rich off of any of it, but if people want to donate a few bucks here and there, like $5 or something, then I wouldn't mind building that into the system too, just because I am all about open source and helping, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind making a few bucks so I can eat every month, and that's always good. So that might be built in, but that type of a website where it involves some of it is very, very basic, like posts, articles, comments, video pages and stuff like that is very, very easy. And then there's the other half where it's like the payment processing, the users, keeping track of subscriptions, keeping track of all that side of it using APIs with third-party companies. That's a little bit more complicated, but I think putting all that together would be a really cool project that people would learn a lot from, and it would be very useful for me. So that's more of a project based on this, like this more real life thing that's happening right now. And then there's a lot of projects we could do in the future or now, I don't know, whenever we want to work on it together, but we could do a lot of things that just are ideas that pop in our head. Like I had a few ideas for some simple little, everyone has ideas, right? We could just build whatever, but like an app that you go to and it just is like a fitness dietary type journal where people write. I was watching a video the other day and she was going through and she kept a journal of being on this diet and getting back into healthy shape and you know she had some medical issues and just documenting herself how she was doing working through it. I thought that's really really cool and you can look back on that and see how you did it and other people um, how other people went through the same thing. So I thought what would be a cool app that would be so simple to build that we could have fun with as a group is building an app where you go to it and obviously you sign in and all you do is on that day it'll just be a text input and you just write a little short blurb on what you did and it keeps track of when you started this life change like this diet, this fitness track, whatever you're doing. It keeps track like the start date and every day you have a little journal entry, whatever you can hop on like on day 5, write something, hop on day 10 write something or do it every day. And what it would do is it would keep track of when you wrote that message to the time that you started the diet or whatever. And then it would show you other people's messages. So like it would say, well, on day 10 of your diet, this is your thoughts. Then you could also go in and say, um, on day 10 of other people's diets, this is what they were thinking, or this is what they wrote. And it's sort of just a way of not actually talking to somebody physically, but sort of seeing somebody's side of the same type of diet. Um, like a keto diet where you're going really low on carbs and you're basing everything off fat, how your body transitions through that period, it's usually a bit of, like, I don't know, 30 days, maybe less than that, but that transition period that your body's going through is pretty crazy. And just documenting it would be neat, but at the same time saying, oh, on day 10 of this transition, so and so had these issues or had this breakthrough or something, and you could compare. And I thought that would be fun. It's such an easy app to build, and it would sort of be neat to work together. But I don't know, that's sort of where I'm at with things. Just there's that app. Then I had another one. I had some other ideas for just some basic apps where people can go on and just write like positive comments to a certain topic, where you have like topics and people write positive things, and you just keep track. If anyone writes anything negative, you just throw it out. But just something so people can let people know the positive side of things. I think the internet, and this is again not like a breakthrough idea or anything. This is just something to build and code for fun. But there's so much negativity on the internet constantly. If you had just a way of saying, you have a topic and you say, who else likes this idea or this concept or, you know, an actor playing a role, like who likes that, and you feel the actor doesn't get enough credit, you could have a topic like that and everyone just says, yeah, he played it so amazing, such a good actor and all that kind of stuff. And just positive comments towards a topic. I think that would be cool. These are just easy things that we could build. Very, very simple to get people up and running with Rails and coding in general. And it's just it gets you on the keyboard, gets you smashing the keys, and gets you used to writing stuff and putting ideas on paper. Um, so I guess we had some ideas here. So I had let's see. Um, so the channel here is Alias Nerd. So I'll just say Alias Nerd web app. And then we got what else did I say? We have the like diet journal. That's how you spell journal. And then what else did I have? Like the commenting, topic commenting app. So those are some ideas. Obviously, there's going to be hordes of ideas, and you guys can say things like, oh, I think we should try building something like this. And as a group, if we want, we could pick something and go ahead and build it. And obviously, everything will be up on GitHub. We'll throw it all up there, and everyone will have access to it. And they can fork it, they can clone it onto their machine, they can make a branch, do a new feature, and throw it up, I can do a live stream showing like, oh yeah, this is what people are thinking for a feature, and we could test it out and see if we want to pull it into the main branch. And I think it would be a really cool experience. A lot of people don't get that experience of working on big code projects and working with teams and, you know, uh, getting their code pulled into the main branch of different things. Like I think if we just did that kind of stuff, it would be fun for everyone. Fun for me. I just want to write code and I want to work with people, and I think that would be cool. So uh, the web app making APIs to YouTube to upload or to auto populate. Yeah, probably do that. I think that's a good idea. There is obviously the easy way that everyone typically does is you can create a post and sorry, just I sort of read the comments and go off topic just so everyone knows. We're talking about the Alias Nerd web app, the main one for this whole sort of experience we're going to be doing here. So the question that Josh is just saying is if it has YouTube videos on it and the live streams, we'll be pulling that from the API, the YouTube API, and I think that is a valid way. We can definitely try that. I haven't actually worked with YouTube all that much. I've never really had a need to. I've never really posted too many videos. This is sort of the beginning of that process, but we can try that for sure. I think it would be cool. The way that everyone else does that, typically, because it's easy, is to have like a post model or an article or whatever you want to call it, and you have your form to create a new post. And that form has things like the name, the description, and then there's a field that you can enter in for the YouTube um, or the video ID or whatever. And then when someone clicks on that post, it automatically just loads it using the video ID through. It is through a basic API, a public API um, that will load it into the player. So that's the easy way to do it. But I think what Josh is talking about is going through, and I don't have to create the post at all. So what's going to happen is when you log in or when you go to the page, it'll just auto fetch all the YouTube videos and populate all those. I don't have to generate the post myself. It'll auto populate posts on its own. Or I can even have, I don't know if YouTube has a push notification or a webhook type notification or something like that, where if I upload a video onto YouTube, it'll automatically call my website and say, look at a new video. And my website will create or the application will create a data model or I lost the word, but anyways, it'll create the database entry for that automatically. So, that would be cool. The problem I find with that, and the reason why most people probably don't do it, is you lose a little bit of control on what you want on the website. If your website is just everything thrown up there, then it's probably a pretty cool idea. It takes a lot of work to do it, but I think it's pretty cool. Whereas if I want to have other things on the site, like set up videos, and I want it to be organized in a certain way, I may not want to just have everything thrown into the website automatically. I may want to have like it broken out into different areas where I say, here is, tutorial videos. Like if you want to check out some tutorial videos on this topic, here's a link to that page where it has that. And if you want to have some of the live streaming stuff we're doing, like the vlog stuff like this, here's that part of the website. So I think that would be a cool way to set it up. I don't know if I can make that happen directly with the YouTube API, but there is the public API that we will 100% be using, where if you want to watch a YouTube video, you just feed it the video ID and it populates the player and away you go. So we'll see how that goes later on. So what we're going to be doing here, I guess, is so there's going to be like screencast pages, posts. Whoops. So there's going to be posts / articles, live stream. Who cares what that does? Live stream page. What else do we have? Like paid content, users and members. Let's see here. It's going to be an open source project, and we'll have a page just for all our projects page. Because I feel like doing a ton of projects here. So we'll build this, but I want it to be like a bunch of stuff that we can just jump onto, see the GitHub page, project description, people can get used to it. I think if I built that, people will get a lot out of it, right? I think, yeah, if I built this, you'd learn a lot. You'd learn about basic Rails app production, where we have like just pages and database entries and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff's pretty basic, but it's good to know and good to walk through over and over again. But then we'd also have like the live stream page, that's pretty basic too. But we'd have paid content, so credit card processing and how you create subscriptions and how you create all that. You can do that on your own website. It's very, very simple, and we'd walk through how to do that. Users members is something that almost everybody wants these days on their web apps. So we'd see how you handle that for like, it's a huge topic, right? Like we're gonna do it in a very simple way, but if you try to implement this on your own, it's a huge topic with, you know, usernames, passwords, storing the passwords properly, resetting the passwords, sending emails out to people so they can reset it properly and safely, um, editing, editing people's information once they have an account. There's You can have it so it's invitation only. You can have it so it's so if you try a certain number of times and you don't get the password correct, it will lock you out and you have to wait for a period of time before you can try again. That could be there. Yeah, I could, I'm just doing this just to write my own head down. I could do markdown into here, but I haven't named this file or anything, so I'm just thinking out loud here. So does everybody, let's just get a quick little consensus here on what we want to build just from the limited people that are watching right now. Do you want to watch me build like the hub app for all of this? Or should we build some other application? One of these types of ideas or one of your guys' ideas, we can do that, smaller apps, more niche type apps. Or I can do the general full one before we get into the niche apps. So what do you think we should do? I see. Josh is asking probably for Markdown for the post on the actual web app. Yeah, we can probably figure that out. Fairly simple. Um, I thought you meant Markdown for what I'm writing here, but yeah, the Markdown for the post we could probably do. So just if people are gonna think that they're gonna come back and watch some coding in the future videos, I think those are the people I want to please with what we're building. There's no use of building something that people don't want to watch, but the other things, I like building niche things. I love building niche projects, and that's what I really want to get into. But before I get into that, I think it's important to have sort of the hub set up where we can all, I don't know what it's going to be, but if we had a spot where everyone that likes watching these videos has a spot to go and comment and talk about things or leave ideas or things like that, I think that would be cool, which I think is important. And to make it more of a inclusive or exclusive, I should say, group of people, having it, a user base for that instead of just, a link out there, a YouTube link out there for people just to click on. I think it's better if we have a spot to go. So I'm going to build that. I'm just wondering if I should build that with all of you guys right now in the live stream stuff, or if we should be doing more niche products. So if anybody wants to comment, that would be great on what we want to do, niche stuff or the hub app. We'll call it the hub app. So these are niche, whoops, niche projects, or we could go, yeah, we could do like the hub app, or we can do niche projects. Go big. So Josh is great. Josh is commenting like crazy. So we could, yeah, we could go big. So big, you mean the hub app? Yeah, they're all big in their own right, right? So, but the hub app is more for us and not for anyone else. And the niche projects are for like the public that don't give a shit about coding. They're just like they want to use it like the diet journal thing. That people just like jump on it and just use it. That would be a wider audience, so that's big too. That's big too. It's just the topic thing is big too. Any of your ideas would be big, but the uh, the hub app I think is mainly for us, like the coders. So, but I think that would be a cool project, and I need to build it anyway, so we can start there. Hub it up, yeah. I like calling it the hub app. Oh, nice, Mirko. I hope I'm saying that right. Uh, getting some people there. All right, so I'm just going to exit out of here. We know what we're doing. So let's go in and create. Okay, Alias nerd is good. I like calling it the hub app. The hub application for Alias nerd. I like that. Sounds pretty intense. Okay, so obviously we're going to make this public. Now I don't do a lot on GitHub, and the stuff I have been doing in the past I've been doing on private things, which is sort of a shame. And this is the whole reason I want to do these live streams. The whole reason is in the back of my head every day I wake up and I say I want to write open source code, and I want to write it with people who like writing code too. And I've looked into just, contributing, and I thought, oh, that's cool. I could contribute to some stuff, but I want to do that too. But I also want to do something more on a steady schedule where I just write code for what the things that I want to do. So we'll do that, and you guys can, contribute or fork it and do your own thing with it or whatever. So we're going to create this on GitHub so everyone has access. We won't do a get, ignore, or a license right now. We won't do a README because we're going to do it all, generate that all on our own computer, and then we'll just upload it. So let's create this. Good. Push an existing. Yeah, so we'll end up doing that. So I'll just keep this here. Yeah, I like that. It's gonna be good. So let's go ahead and start a project. What time are we at? 2:37. Now I'm limited time today. Actually, we'll just see how far we get. So let's just think about what we need this to do. Let's just start very basic. Where am I here? Okay. Everyone's good with the text size. So that's good. All right. You could record it while coding sometime and post later too. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was thinking that before today. I was like, I'm gonna start coding something and I don't need to live stream. I'll just record it and post it. And I didn't really want to, I just never wanted to because I thought I have the capability of live streaming. So why not just have people involved? I think almost all you guys are probably from uh, Udemy. That's where I sent that email off to. So I'm like, I could just record it. Like, I don't know. I've been. You should see my Udemy page because I have so many courses on there that I started, like probably 20 courses. I just never got them done to upload and publish, and so the courses I have on there are like were done a really long time ago, except for the Vim course. I did that one recently, but they're so old school. I'm not 100% proud of them, but they were up there just for fun. Um, I keep wanting to put courses up there, and I think I really should be live streaming because I'm really tired in today's society of producing things that other people may not actually want. When we have the capability of just live streaming, seeing what you guys want to do. Um, Sorry, I just read a comment. Seeing what you guys want to do and sort of working off that. If I just start producing content that you guys don't really give a crap about, it sort of wastes my time, and it's a lot of work doing that stuff. I did, yeah, I started this actual Ruby on Rails. I've been doing Ruby on Rails for the last few years instead of Python. I switched off Python, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a course on it. So I started a course on it, and I thought, you know what? I don't know. There's a lot of politics in Udemy as well, um, with the pricing and all that kind of stuff, and it's been difficult. So I thought I started the course, and I thought, well, why not just do it on my own and do live streaming, have you guys involved more, and have you guys be able to do the GitHub and fork it and contribute, and I'll pull your code in. I think that's a much better experience for learning how to code than watching just straight videos. So, like, I think this is best of both worlds. Um, the Python question, I I was building products for people. I'm really big into web apps, and I used every kind of framework in Python as possible, like Django, Flask, web.py. Just trying to remember, this was years ago I did Python, and so I worked with them all, and they're all pretty cool. Flask I sort of ended up liking a lot, and Django, Django got so bloated, and I wanted to use Django, but it's just the more you want to do, the harder it seemed to use. Like the templating and just like getting it to run fast, like all it's just kept on being a nuisance. So um, just out of curiosity, I like learning things. I teach my things all the time. So I thought everyone, it's a big battle. It's just a joke, really. The Ruby versus Python thing. It's just you should just program in whatever language. You shouldn't pick one. You should program in everything. So I thought, oh, I'm going to learn Ruby. So I picked up, I learned Rails and Ruby together because I like the web stuff. So Rails made sense. The framework, it's comparable to like a framework like Django. So picked it up. It was just so intuitive, just like Python was when I first learned it. I just loved it. It was so easy to learn. Rails was the same thing, and I loved programming in it. And I've done actual production web apps now with it, and it's just I love it. So I think Python is a great tool to have if you know it. It's easy to learn other languages, so it's great that you guys probably know it. And yeah, so then I'm gonna start doing like I just wanted to start making videos for Rails because I just love it so much. I think you guys should get into it if you have time. So that's why you're doing Rails. Um, Derek Bananas programming videos. Uh, I do not watch. I don't watch a lot of programming videos. I watch a guy by the name of Chris Oliver, but not like just a little bit. I don't watch a lot. I've when I was researching on what I wanted to do, I watched a lot of live stream on Twitch, the um, the coding live stream, and they just seem boring. Like I'm not going to say this is any better, but it's pretty much just like people coding with the music up, and they're doing like complicated projects, and it's just like hard to get into. They're working on real world like complicated things, and if your head's not in it, it's just so hard to figure it out. I will check that guy out sometimes. Yeah, I will check it out for sure. Um, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, so that pretty much answers all those questions. So why don't we just dive into starting this Rails project here? How many people have worked with Rails before? I know there's not too many of you guys talking in the chats, but um, anybody worked with Rails, or you guys just Python? Hmm. Just looking something up here. Never worked with Python either, just Python. Well, Ruby on Rails, yeah, Python, Django, big data, lots of content. Nah, see, the problem was people put labels on things, and I think that's the problem with a lot of things in this world. People put these labels on things, and you're like, oh, I have to use Python for data analysis because it is good for it, and it's not good for web apps. It's like, no, you can build anything with any of those things. It's just Rails is really easy to use from a thinking perspective, like on how to take an idea in your head and just translate it really, really quickly into a web app, which is why Rails is great for apps, people say, but you can use Rails. Rails is really good for APIs. Um, if you're building like a phone application or anything that just wants to like hit your own API, it's really great for that. It's great for a lot of things. It's just a really easy framework to use to build different types of applications. So you could use it for a bunch of different stuff. JavaScript and markup, nice. JavaScript. Now JavaScript is something hard to figure out for a lot of people. I use it on such a minimal amount of stuff that I'm by no means you'd be better at it than me. I couldn't tell you how to do things in it. I know how to do it to get my job done, but I don't know much about it. I don't use it as an actual programming language. I use it more just like for adding sugar to a website. Java and net.net. Now I started on Objective-C and C and C++, and then I moved over to Java because I thought that was the way to go, and I did not like it. I really had a bad time with it, and that's when I switched over to Python. And I love Python in comparison to Java, so yeah, that's why I fell in love with Python so much because of my difficulty with Java. Not that I couldn't do things on Java, just I found like it was hard, like hard to do things fast. And I like to have ideas and put them out there quickly, so that's why Java didn't really fit with me. And then .NET I've never used. HTML, obviously I started with HTML back when I was a kid. I just hacked little websites and thought I was a programmer, but you know, uh, I think a lot of people when they start out, they're just like, yeah, I'll create a website and do some HTML and think you're like the shit. And yeah, I was a kid when I did that, but agreed. Just trying to figure out which one is going to be more pertinent to my industry, digital publishing. Digital publishing, eh? So, uh, like digital publishing of what? Like Rails is just a great starting. Like if you're talking a big app, like Twitter was built on Rails really quickly, and it was not the best thing for Twitter, obviously. So they've rewritten a lot of things, and they had a lot of problems with it. But again, people shouldn't get caught up on is it right for the industry. What happens is, um, not that your comment is wrong there, but it's like what happens is Twitter built it on there because it was quick, easy to get something up and running. You want minimum viable product to see if it's even worth building. Build it in whatever you want, but it doesn't matter. If all of a sudden it takes off and people say this is really handy, we're all going to use it. And at that point, you're saying, well, to make it better, Rails is probably not the best thing, or Python is probably not the best thing. You rewrite it at that point. You rewrite code constantly. So pick a programming language that you like writing on that you could get something up and going really quickly. And that's what you should use. That's what your mindset should be on how to actually get this stuff done is find something you love writing code in that just really speaks to you and write in that and don't worry about if it's built for that type of application yet because 90% of code doesn't get used very often. Like it's just people build shit and it doesn't ever take off. So to spend time worrying about if it's the right thing is just sort of the wrong thing to think about at that time. You should think about how you're going to build it and get in front of people to see what they think and see if they'll actually want it. And then if it takes off, then you can switch it. Twitter did it and it was a nightmare, but you know, that's what they did. And Facebook did it with PHP, built it in PHP. It's not really the best language, and they've rewritten a lot of stuff. Actually, they've created their own version programming language, I think, for a lot of their stuff. So Google does it all the time. They just throw things together. Uh, so yeah. Also, publishing books and e-publishing. Yeah, you could use like Rails. It doesn't really matter. I don't know. We'd have to sort of figure that out. But not a Java fan, right? About 35, 115, 1, yeah. Java's. I love the Java when it first came out. Java's great, but it first came out, it's like write code and run it everywhere, which is it's still not there yet. It's an old language. It's still not there yet. But it is one of the I'd say it runs on the most different platforms, Java. So yeah, it's good there. It's good there. So but just for what I like to do here, and the reason why Rails is awesome is we can throw something up and get an idea out there real quick. Like that's it. You're not doing that with Java. You're not doing that. It doesn't mean Rails is the best final production quality product for big applications. It doesn't mean that. Sometimes it does work. A lot of projects run off Rails, but what it's really good for people like me and probably people like you is we just get stuff up there real quick, see if our idea actually works on in an application form, and then boom, if you need to switch it out. If you don't, keep going, refactor it, make it better. So that's sort of where I'm coming from with this. So I'm glad not too many people have used Rails because we can introduce you to it. Um, so yeah, I'm going to let's just start this here. So we're going to create this thing, Alias Nerd web app. And I want to use a database. Now, right from the get-go, you should decide on what type of database you're going to be using, different technologies. So there's like SQL and all that kind of stuff. I'm using one called Postgres. Now, the actual production server I like to use called Heroku, they prefer Postgres, and actually I think you can only use Postgres as far as I know. I'm not too sure. I've only used Postgres, so that's the one I like to use. It's SQL language based, so if you know how to write SQL, it'll work with Postgres. I like it. That's what we're going to use. So we're just going to set up the app right from the get-go to use Postgres. So it's PostgreSQL. That's how you have to say it, and just hopefully there's no errors pop up here. Shite. Yeah, I'm already in a directory. So we want to go back here. So we'll do that. And what this does, all I did was the command like Rails new, then you name your application, in this case alias nerd, and as an optional flag, I put in the -d, or you could do --database, and then you list the database technology you want to be using. In this case, I want to use Postgres. So I did that, and what this is doing now is it runs through and installs all the dependencies for Rails. Like Rails is its own framework, but it also has dependencies for different things. Quite a bit actually here. So I wonder if I can scroll up here. So what it first did was it showed you everything that it created. It creates a project structure for the directories and the files that it will need for the framework. It does all of that. And the trick with Rails is just you can go out on your own and do whatever you want with project structure, but why would you? Why would you invent the wheel? They have something that's tested and true, and it works, and it's so easy to use. So just use their project structure and their files and their naming conventions and all that kind of stuff. What sort of irks me is people come in and they think, well, that's not the way I would do it, and I'm going to do it this way because I sort of feel I know better. And it's like, that's fine. You could probably make it work your own way, and you probably are a smart guy or girl, but like, why reinvent the wheel? Why be so angry at everybody all the time? Just, this is the way that it's been developed because it works really well. So just use that. Just use the way that they've done it, right? It's so easy. And worry about other things. Worry about your own app code so don't worry about the structure as much because it just works great. All right, then after it creates the project structure and the files, it goes through and it finds all the different dependencies that it needs. So these are all different packages. They're called Ruby gems because we're writing in the language of Ruby. And a Ruby gem is a package of code that you could bring into your project. So it's really amazing. Python and Django have the same type of thing. So, but Ruby and Rails it's actually a much easier process. So what it does is it goes through and it says, I need all this stuff. Is it on your computer? And if not, I'm going to install it. So it just goes through. I have most of this on there. And then it runs a bundle install. Yeah, it does it here. I don't think I have to do it. No, it already does it. So it runs this thing and it installs all the stuff on the computer. Mine's already installed, so it did it really quickly. If this was the first time you're running Rails, this would take a long time to install all this stuff. But once it's there, it's ready for every project that you're going to be doing. I can't read this at all on a black background and a blue font. I don't see any blue font, but like you want black and blue? Oh, so you're saying that we did Vim, but we didn't really do the terminal, did we? Yeah, we did. Hmm. Let's just see here. Edit. Colors. Hmm. I know we already did this. I'm just checking something out. Wonder what color would be good. Is white better? I'll leave it as white. I don't know. We can play around with that as we go. But if anyone doesn't, yeah, if anyone can't read it, then I'm sorry about that, Monica. But hopefully this is better for you. So, anyways, all it did, yeah. So Ruby on Rails it's a process. I have some videos up. I don't have this Ubuntu version up, but I have two videos up on the YouTube, my YouTube page, Alias Nerd. They they explain how to set all this up to get Ruby on Rails on your computer. So you could watch that. Those were videos I was going to put on Udemy project or course, but I'm not doing that anymore. So you could watch those on YouTube. Uh, so yeah, that will teach you how to put Rails on there. You can find other things. It really depends on your computer, but I am going to produce a video showing how to do it on a virtual machine um, and Ubuntu. I have all of the, I call it B-roll. I set the whole thing up and recorded everything I did to get from zero to where I'm at now. I've recorded everything. So all I have to do is just do the voiceover and actually edit it all together, and then I'll post that video. I'll hopefully do that pretty soon. Um, so yeah, so that's how that is. If you don't have Ruby on Rails, then look at those videos. But once you have it all installed, that's sort of the process. So I'm just going to again, if this font's not big enough, tell me and I'll make it bigger. I just really want you to be able to read it. So let's just cd into alias nerd. Oh, it's not CS cd. All right, so now we're in here. You can ls. You can see that we have. Yes, this might be bad for you too. So let me just go into here, colors. Hmm, background color, bold color. Yeah, this color right here is not. Anyways, yeah, this is all being recorded, and you guys can watch it on your own. It's all being recorded and archived. So anyways, I'm sorry if you can't read this perfectly, but it just says there's an app directory, a bin directory, config. Um, we might be able just to dive right into here and then see it better. Okay, so these colors will probably be better for you to see. So you have an app directory, a bin directory, config, db, which stands for database, a lib for your libraries, a log, public, test, temp, and vendor. And then there's some files for like setup configuration files. So we have a config, we have a gem file, and gem file that's what I was talking about, the Ruby gems that it already installed for us. We can include our own that we want to use from different third-party people, and it's going to bundle that into our project so our project can use it. And that's what this gem file talks about, what our project requires for bundles, for gems, sorry. And then gem file lock is that's just something that gem file uses or the application uses to load the gems. We have a rake file. A rake file is a tool. Rake is a tool that we can use with Rails um, and Ruby, I'm pretty sure, to do different tasks like set up the database or run the tests or do different tasks. Rake is used for that. So rake file is a way that you can set up different things on your own. And then the README file that we're going to use for the GitHub page. So that's sort of the project structure. Um, let's just see here. The gem file looks like this. So we have the source comes from rubygems.org. We have, these are the ones that we currently have the project using. These are default ones, which I don't think we're going to change. We have the Rails gem, because Rails is a framework, it's a gem itself, and that's what we pull in. Ruby pulls that in to use it as the web framework. We have PG, which is Postgres. That's the one that we're using. Because I set that up on the Rails new command as using the database Postgres, it automatically set this for me. The default is SQLite. So if you were not entering anything in on the Rails new command, it would actually be using the SQLite gem, I'm pretty sure. Then we have Sass Rails. So Sass is I guess, is it a language or a syntax for CSS, like the cascading style sheets? So it's just a way that we could use that within a Rails project. I won't go through all of these, but here's Coffee. I use CoffeeScript for the JavaScript, so it allows Rails to read it and utilize CoffeeScript. We have jQuery can be built in. TurboLinks, which is a JavaScript. I'm trying to think of the alternative. My brain's drawing a blank, but it just it makes your web app, it's like an Ajax library, sort of. It just preloads pages for you so that your app runs a lot faster. Um, on the front end, it's a front end thing. So I'll find out a better description of that. My brain's just drawing a blank. Um, so the JSON APIs, the JBuilder, that's what for like if you're building an API, really handy. And also this is used in almost all the apps. So if you're not building an API, you still use it. The documentation, these are some ones they've commented out. Bybug, which is used in development and test environments. It just makes it easy to debug your code. If you run into an error, it's just a really cool gem to help you do that. Web console is another cool thing to help you do your debugging and all that kind of stuff for like the exception pages and things. And then Spring is just for helping speed up in the development process stages, not for production, but this is just the default stuff. We're gonna add our own things to this. I wonder if we can dive right in. So I'm just going to create a new tab here, and we're in Alias nerd, and if I run the Rails command, and there's different things we can do, but one of them is set up a server. So instead of writing Rails server, I'm just going to write Rails S, and we'll see. We might have to set up the database. So far it's okay. Okay, so now it started a server, and it says it's booting up WebRick, which is one that's built into Ruby, web server, and it's using Rails 4.2.4, and we can find this on localhost 3000. So I have an alias that I can run. Oh, I can't run that in there. So I'm just going to actually create a brand new tab and do local open, which is an alias I have for opening up the web browser. And this is the only slow part I find with using Ubuntu on the virtual machine, is that Firefox which is built into Ubuntu, is just really, really slow. And because I was an idiot and installed the 32-bit version, I can't get Chrome on here. Okay, so we have, this is an error page. And like I said, we have to set up this, this server. So connect to a server, blah, blah, blah. So let's go through. I have an alias for it, but I can't remember what it is. So let me just bash aliases. So I have it PostgreSQL start. So PostgreSQL start. And do that. All right, we might get an error here again if we go to here and refresh. I may need to, yeah, it does not exist. So we need to set up we have the database running. Postgres is running in the background from that command. Get out of here. Okay, so it's running in the background with this okay. It started the Postgres, but the problem is our app requires a database, because when we generated Rails, it did all that for us. It set everything up, but we need to actually tell Postgres to create that database. And Rails has a great way, well, not Rails, but the rake commands. You can do rake, and we can set up our database right from here. So you go DB, which stands for database, and we can just do database create. And if I hit enter, it's going to go through and just create the databases I need in my development environment. So it did that. And now let's see what the error might be. So we did that. And there we go. So everything's working properly. We have a Rails application. Welcome aboard. You're riding Ruby on Rails. We can click this link and it tells us our environment. So here's all the stuff we have for middleware installed. Our JavaScript runtime is Node.js, which you have to have on your machine for the JavaScript runtime, which I installed on this one, and my video will explain how to do that. The Rack version I'm using, the Ruby Gems version I'm using, the Ruby version 2.3.0, and then the Rails version I'm using 4.2.4. So just so you guys know, those are my versions I'm using. The root application is here. We're in the development environment, which is good, not production, which is obvious because we're on localhost. The database we're using, the adapter is PostgreSQL, and the database scheme version is 0. So we're using, we haven't created any schemes yet. And the version of that is 0. Like if we could do other schemes, but we won't get into that right now. All right, so that's it. And it just says if you want to get started, generate some models and controllers, because Rails uses the MVC architecture, which is models, views, controllers. So models are a way of mapping your data structure to your database object, right? So you would have, say you had a user, and the user would have a name, an email, a password. So that's a structure. That's the structure of the data that you'd be asking for from the user through your web app. And then you'd also have a database table with those different attributes, the name, the email, and the password, right? And it's just a model is a way of mapping those two things together. So that's what the model does. The controller is a way, is sort of like the central bit. It grabs information or tells the models what to do, like whether to fetch information, search for stuff, find things, query things, or it tells it to save things, update things and stuff. And it also then communicates with the views saying, well, I have all this information from the models and from the database. Can you display it to the user in this way, whether it be HTML, JavaScript, an AJAX a reply, or something like that. So that's what the controller sort of handles, that middle section where it says, get this information and display it in this way. And then you have views, which are your view templates, right? So that's typically your HTML in most cases, or some sort of JavaScript or something on the view side, the front end side. And that just says how you display all the information or how you communicate the information. So that's the models, views, and the controllers, and that's how Rails is built. So it's saying, in order to get started, we should create some models and some controllers, and then we should set up a route. And a route is just a web address that points from like your home domain or /user/j would then go to this part of your web app, right? It's a web address that then goes to some part of your web application, and that's a route. So the route, we could set up a route to do that, and it's saying you do that in this location. You could configure your database. We're not using SQLite, which is the default, like I said, but you could configure it using the database.yaml. We don't really have to do that here because of Postgres is already working for us. We have it all done. So we're good there. So um, yeah, CSS post processor. Yeah, okay. So does anyone have any questions here? We sort of have an app created and up and running. I guess we could, let's go ahead and upload it to GitHub because we created that GitHub thing, right? Where did we do that? We did that over here. So let's just do this. I'm just going to copy this and put it into our, we have it in here. Good. Well, I think I have to get a init, don't I? Yeah. Get a init. There we go. And then we're going to, I'm just trying to figure out if I need to git ignore anything before I put up into, so one thing I might want to look at is if what this in the config, the only thing I can think of for right now, right off the base, is the secrets.yaml, and that looks good. Okay, so in production, the production secret key would be the one that you wouldn't want people to have, and that one's pulling in from an environment variable, so that's fine. So I can go ahead and set up a git remote, add that, boom, and then we'll do git add. Now, has anybody used Git before? That's another cool thing. Git is amazing. So if you've never used Git before, you'll sort of get a feel for it working through what I'm doing on the screencast. But definitely a cool thing to start using 100% on every single project. Git is different from GitHub. People get confused if they've never seen it before. GitHub is named after Git because it started out as a company that was a online repository for Git repositories. And a Git repository is a way of versioning or separating out your code into different versions, branches. You know, it's a way of monitoring changes and working with a team of people working on different bits of code, then you can bring it all together. It's just a tool for doing all of that stuff. There's a bunch of different types of repository and versioning tools out there, but Git is by far the most popular. It was invented, I think, by Linus or something or other. The guy who invented Linux, I don't remember his name right off the top of my head. But the guy that created Git for helping create Linux, I believe, and it's an amazing tool that everyone uses now. If you want to work as a programmer anywhere, you should be using Git because everyone else will. And if you just want to do this as a hobby like me, use Git because it'll help you out. What's this going on? Oh, this is the Ubuntu crap. So anyways, whoops. I don't know why I hit C there in the thing, but okay. So yeah, Git. The way we're going to do it is Git is the tool we're going to use, and we're going to add all the files. We're going to add all the files that have changed since we last did a Git commit. So in this case, we can go Git status, right, and see what's going on. It says, well, untracked files are all of the stuff that we've added because we haven't done anything yet. So we could do Git add, and then I can do a dot to say add everything, right? And then if I go back to status, you'll see, wow, there's a bunch of stuff there. It says changes to be committed. So I'm just sort of adding this, or I'm staging it. So these are all the files that I'm saying that have changed that I want to then add to this commit. So then I do git commit. So I'm going to commit all these changes into the latest commit, which means it's sort of like grouping the change into one group. And I can pass a message, which is definitely you want to do. You don't want to commit things without a message, and just say, this is started the project first commit. The default one is init commit or initial commit. That's the default message that everyone says to use, but I like just saying this. You could say whatever you want just so people understand what you're doing with this commit. So we haven't really done anything. We've just sort of generated the project, and these are the files that were created for us. So we haven't done anything. So we'll just say we started the project and this is the first commit just to get the ball rolling. I hit enter, it goes through and it said it created all that stuff. And now if I go up and say git status, you can say that we're on the branch master and nothing to commit. So we're in the working directory and everything's clean, everything's working good. So you can see here, this is the project directory I'm in. Now this will not look like yours. I'm just showing you what mine looks like, just so when you're looking at it, you can understand. This will be the project directory that I'm in, and this will be the branch that I'm on. So this will mostly always be master unless I'm working with different things that you guys are doing, like pulling in code. But for the most part, we'll work with master to start off. We might make branches for different features later on, but we'll see. And then alias nerd is the current directory. So if I go cd app, you can see that now I'm in the app directory, right? So that's sort of how this reads. I kept it minimal so you guys didn't have that much junk flying around there in the terminal. So that's sort of how that's working out. Yeah, so we still have, I think, one more step, don't we? Yeah, we have to push it up to master. So this, yeah, the pull, no, we're not pulling anything. I'm just trying to see what you mean by pull to get stuff into master. So everything is local. So far we're doing everything local. I did set up the project on GitHub, but that's separate from Git. That's just a project there, and there's nothing on there yet. So everything is local so far. I created all the files locally. I initiated a Git repository within this project, and that defaults to master branch right here. So everything's in the master branch currently, and I committed the code locally. So it's all local. And Git is perfect for working locally. You can switch back and forth between different commits to say, oh, I made a real big mistake. Let me see if I go back to the last commit. Let me see if it still works and all that kind of stuff. So that's handy on your own computer. But now if we want to push it to GitHub, we could do git push origin master. So this means we're gonna using the Git tool, we're gonna push our code, this app code, not the entire application, all the way back to alias nerd directory. So we're going to push all of that. We're going to use the origin is the sorry, it's the location where you're pushing it to. So in this case, we set that up earlier. I think if we have that, let me see. I'm going to go all the way back here, remote there. So we added this origin remote, which is the location that we're pushing our code to. In this case, it's the GitHub location, the repository. But as you'll see when we get this onto our production server, we're going to be creating a push remote location that is our actual production server, and we'll just git push to the production server, the master branch, right? So it's just different things. So we're going to be pushing to the origin remote, which is GitHub, the master branch. So if I just hit this, subversion, tortoise subversion. Never used. I can't remember the one I used before Git. I blocked it from my memory. I don't know. Like, are you saying that because you think Git's complicated? Git is so easy. There's pretty much what we just did is 98% of what you'll do on Git for what we're doing. If you want to get crazy with big teams, you will do. Oh, I didn't set up the username and all that. So username I think is it J1 or JL1? JL1. Okay. Let's see if I remember this. I should probably set this up, but for now, let's just see if this is working. Oh my God. There we go. Give me a while to remember the password, but okay. So what it did there is you can set this up so that it just knows it. So it found the objects. It uploaded them all 100% to this location, and it was from master branch to master branch. So everything's good. So now if we go over to GitHub, actually it's so slow in on this Ubuntu thing. Like look at this. Look at how slow this is. So I'm just going to go over here. So if we do this and then we say, we could have imported the code, but if I just refresh, where's refresh on here? There we go. Yeah, I understand the mental block. It takes a little bit of time, but pretty much what we just did is that's everything. So, oh here's our app. So we have our README. We'll update this obviously. And we have our app here. This is just like what we've seen. These are our directories. This is our files there. We could have issues created, pull requests, all this kind of stuff. You could fork it, you could start it, you could watch it. I'm obviously watching it because I created it. But you guys can access this now. It's up live on the internet, like everything else in this world. And there you have it. So Git is, I don't know what is, see, this Ubuntu, it's just like, it's chugging away. This is a powerful computer I'm working on, but it's this virtual machine just, just chugs away sometimes. Okay, so what we got here is git, you do git status. This is the first command you're going to do. So you see what's changed. If any, right now nothing's changed, so everything's good. If there is stuff that changes, then you just do git add. You can list out the actual file that you want to add, or you can just hit dot and it adds everything that's changed, right? And then the other command you do is git commit with a message, right? Message. And then after you've done that and everything's good, that's all you have to do. That's it. You can just keep doing that all day long. Those two things, git add and git commit, those are the two things you have to do. Git status is handy to see what has changed. And then if you want to push to GitHub, which you don't always want to do, I don't do it very often actually. You'll see I don't actually do it very often at all. In the last many years, I only have like 4 or 5 things up there. But you can just do git push because you're pushing your code to GitHub, and then you say origin, and then you say master because we're in that thing, right? The other one is when you get going, you might copy paste a command called git pull. I might do that for pulling in your code to the master branch, or I could do into a different branch, I should say, or I might do git clone, which is for cloning my project from GitHub onto your machine. So that's a copy paste thing that GitHub will show you how to do. But git clone, and you can say the address, the HTTPS address for the actual repository you want to clone. And you can do that for anybody's stuff on GitHub. You just clone it onto your own computer and then you have it on your computer. So really, really easy, simple. And that's pretty much the extent of what you need to know for the basics of Git. It's once you do those things, it's just over and over again, the same thing over and over and over again. And it's very easy to remember and it's very powerful. Now, if you want to get more complicated with it with branches and merging things and you can do a lot of stuff with it. It's very, very powerful, amazing tool, but you don't have to. Like that stuff is complicated. You could just keep it simple here and just do what we got, with the git add, git commit, and done. And just keep doing that over and over again, committing and having a message saying, I added this to the application today, or I changed this, or I fixed this bug. And keep doing that over and over and just documents everything that your code's doing so other people can review it. And when you shove it up to GitHub, it has a really cool UI, user interface for how to manage and see the different file changes and stuff. It's really, really cool. So there you go. So we have a project. We decided on what we're going to be building. We didn't do very much coding today, but I didn't think we would be. I just wanted to get everyone on board with what I think we could be doing with this channel and having everyone watch. So yeah, so we have GitHub. You guys can access that. Really nothing to fork yet, so I wouldn't even worry about forking that or cloning that onto your own machine. There's nothing there. You can easily create everything we just created by hitting Rails, new, then your app name. You have all the same files. It's no different. We talked about Git a little bit. We have most of the stuff set up on the system, so we can get going. Obviously, if you want to get Rails, Ruby on Rails on your system, you can just look online for different tutorials, or I have a couple of videos up on YouTube on how to do that on both Mac and Windows, but I really don't recommend the Windows one. I'm going to be uploading this virtual machine setup very, very soon once I finish it. I don't know when, but hopefully this week. And I recommend you watch that video and use a virtual machine instead if you're on Windows. If you're on a Mac, you can watch the Mac video I already have up or find a tutorial online. It's pretty simple and get it all working on your system. And there you go. So in the future, we're going to be writing, we're not going to be doing as much talking about setup. We're just going to be writing code. Okay, so I'm just going to jump on here, do a live stream, write some code for an hour, maybe two, and then close it off and upload it for you guys to watch. So if it's going to be all on demand, if you guys want to catch up on stuff or you miss it, obviously I can't stream at all hours of the day. I have a family and I have a job. So I have to do my job. And so whenever I have time, I'm going to live stream this and I'll let you guys know through well, it'll show up on YouTube. It'll send you guys, if you subscribe to this channel, it'll send you guys a link saying I'm live streaming. And if not, I might send stuff through Udemy, but I'm trying not to do too much through there. So I'd like to sort of break off on my own thing. It's going to be a little bit easier. So yeah, subscribe. You'll get the notifications if I'm live streaming. If you miss live streaming, catch up on the on-demand videos on YouTube. And yeah, we're going to code from now on out. I'm sorry that we didn't do much coding today. I know you guys probably want to see coding, but we will do that and we're going to create a lot of projects. Hopefully maybe a project every month. We'll just keep doing stuff over and over. We'll get a ton of stuff done. And you guys can help out, contribute if you want, or learn and do your own projects. And hey, if you guys have questions, this will be cool. You guys are working on a project, put it up on GitHub if you want to have it open source, and I'll do a live stream. I'll fork it over, and if you guys have any questions, I'll go through and see what I can do with it, and we might be able to do that. I don't want to do it too much because it is sort of complicated. I like to have my head in the game when I'm working with someone else's code. I don't want to just jump in and quickly do stuff because I don't really know everything about the program, so it's sort of hard to do that sometimes. And also, a lot of people might not find it as fun, but we'll see. We'll see. We might be able to do that, especially with Rails projects, to sort of see what's going on. I think it would be sort of cool. So anyways, probably gonna have to stop recording here. It's 3:30 my time, roughly, and I gotta go get my daughter. So yeah, well, we're going to work on this in the future. So hopefully you guys had fun. I love the live chat. Hopefully we get a lot of people in here live chatting. I'd like to answer your questions as much as I can, see what you guys are up to, get your comments. You know, I make mistakes all the time. I look stuff up. I don't memorize everything. My brain's only so big, filled with so many things, so I always forget stuff. But I'll look things up, and I like the live stream. You guys can tell me your thoughts or tell me I'm doing something wrong or give me your opinion on things. I love that. That's really what I want this to do. I don't want to tell you guys how to do everything. I want you guys to tell me stuff sometimes and say, look, yeah, I don't think you're doing that the best way. Let's do it this way. And I think, oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, I think that's a lot better than me putting out videos and you watching them and not communicating in a real one-on-one fashion or in a live fashion. I think this is much better. So if anyone has any questions before they go, put it up on the stream. I'll try and answer anything, but if not, I will see you guys later. I won't get on tomorrow because I'm got my day full tomorrow. Maybe Wednesday around 2 o'clock I'll jump on if I have time and we'll start coding out this application. I'm going to think of different model structures. Like right now we can just start easily with a post model structure, but I'll think of different things so we can just get the project up and running. And by the way, I will be testing everything. I will be writing tests with all the code. I will use some speed coding techniques, but I will be testing everything, which most courses do not do. So it's very important to test your code. Everything you write should have tests associated with it. So this will have that. So that's one bonus. I will be testing stuff. Um, Anyways, yep, we'll talk to you guys later. No real questions coming in. I don't know what the delay is on this. I think it's like 15 seconds or something. So should wait a little bit, but no questions come in. So yep, thanks for watching, and this should be up on YouTube. If it's listed as private, I'll just make it public, and you guys can watch it on your own time. So if you had to leave early today, well, if you had to leave early, you're not here anymore. But if in the future, if you have to leave early for one of them or you miss one of them, you can watch it on YouTube. Talk to you later, guys.